Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. I am joined by a ClutchPoints.com beat reporter for the Detroit Pistons, Eric Vincent. Had to put the name tags on there. I almost forgot. Eric, what up, man?
Good man, good man. Just getting ready for the show. I'm excited to be here. These are like good little therapy sessions for me. So I'm excited to be here, man. How you doing?
Good. I had to look back. We haven't talked one-on-one, I think, before the season started.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a little while. I thought a couple features with Sean too. So yeah, this is a nice time to be here. Though. I'm good with it. What's up?
Yeah, those when we get together, like me and Sean, man, those just go off the rails. I feel like we don't even talk like basketball at that point, but I love those conversations.
He was at the game yesterday. I can't say the stuff he was saying, but just every single text I got from him, I would just drop my head and I can hear him laughing from the nonsense will come out of his mouth. Shout out to Sean Murphy, though. That's my dog. I love him.
I know he just moved here. I can only imagine what sitting
Yes.
at a media table, like it's probably like high school.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. we be trying to be professional, so it only can hold in for so long. It's wild people over there.
Yeah, maybe like 30 seconds for me if I was ever credentialed. If I ever to get credentialed again, like I would probably get in trouble and kicked out, knowing me. But
Oh, yeah, we would be done. Just us three alone. They would make us sit in different parts of the arena. No way they let us sit by each other.
no, 100%, 100%. I wanted to start this podcast off with NBA trade deadline. Now, I feel like a lot of Pistons fans have very strong opinions, and deservedly so. Best team we've had in like what 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just been such a the great thing to cover. I'm sure you've had like great stories you've written over the past couple of months, but they had put out that the Detroit Pistons aren't likely to make any big moves. And I feel like that's kind of been consistent with Trajan in any interview or any article that I've read. I mean, are you surprised by this, or do you think they should try to maybe explore, getting maybe a secondary option or exploring to make a big move, considering where the East is at right now?
Um, I'm a little surprised. I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna lie. I can understand the logic. Being in a position where they've been number one in the East basically for the whole season. Played pretty good on both sides of the ball. They've maintained their identity and they've checked off a lot of the, foundational things that they've been looking to do since Trajan and JB have gotten here. But we also know what the NBA is and really just sports in general. Like, there's been a lot of comparisons between the Lions and, their lack of moves or their lack of, activity, throughout the season in terms of roster movement. And I can see some of the correlation between it with the Pistons as well. While I'm not surprised that they're maybe not trying to go out and make a huge move or like a big swing to a player, I am kind of surprised if they – I would be – granted, it's not over yet because obviously the deadline's not here yet. But I would be pretty surprised if they don't end up doing anything because I don't feel like this is a team that is perfect. I do think they have done a good job playing regular season basketball up to this point. But what you've done to me, in my opinion, between the months of October through January of the new year is not the same as the postseason gets here. And I feel like while they've done a good job of winning and playing this ball for now, I think you still are seeing some cracks within this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think yesterday was kind of an example. Like, granted, they do a good job of playing great team defense, even individually, but offensively, they still can leave a lot to be desired, especially when they're dealing with things like injuries, which has been a big occurrence all season. So I don't know. I personally feel like they could use a little bit of fine tuning. I don't think it would hurt them to maybe look for a shooter or two, or maybe another secondary creator. Again, I understand the logic just based on the success that they've had, but I still do worry to an extent on how good this is going to look once the playoffs get here and the game is tightened up in a half-court setting where you can't play as open and loose as you've done up to this point in the regular season. So I personally have some of those questions, but who knows? Maybe we'll see that success continued in this direction. But I need to see it first before I'm a little bit more confident in just saying, okay, everything is fine.
Yeah, like I don't expect them to go out and trade like, two or their four like core pieces or anything like that. Like
Right.
I know we could probably talk about this player later. Like Michael Porter Jr. has been a really hot name among Pistons fans. Trey Murphy was until the Pelicans said, "Nah, let's run it back,"
Mm-hmm.
which okay. Okay.
Crazy. All right, if you say so.
But I've always been of the opinion, kind of like you, like when it's the playoffs, it's not going to be a transition up and down game. It's going to be more half court settings. And we saw a lot of that against the Knicks where, they were trapping Cade and THJ had to step up. Then Schroeder had to have good games. And this team, obviously, roster construction is completely different from last season. Like Duncan Robinson is your only consistent perimeter high volume shooter. Right. So if they do anything at this trade deadline, I've been under the opinion of go look for another shooter out there. I feel like there's a lot of 3-point specialists out there that could be gettable. It just depends like what you want to give up in terms of draft capital or players. I think one player that I've mentioned with you is like I really like Dante DiVincenzo. I really like Grayson Allen. If you want to be cheaper, like Gary Trent Jr. from Milwaukee could be like a sneaky buy low option. Plus, there's a Duke connection there with Trajan, so you never know. But I'm not too surprised by like hearing that they don't want to make any big moves. I feel like if you were to make a big move, it's during the summer, it's during the draft. Because I feel like if you were to make a big move for a big like chip player, it's really hard to get them acclimated mid-season. Like, I remember when they traded for Blake Griffin, they still made the playoffs. They missed the playoffs that year because it was really hard for him to get acclimated. They made the playoffs the very next season. But just to kind of get to my point, like I'm not too surprised. But if you do want to address more 3-point shooting, because I think it would help you out a ton in the playoffs and just in regular season games. Like the game against Chicago this week, like you saw it firsthand. Like they need a 3-point shooter desperately. You can't rely on heroics every game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is kind of clear cut. I think it was very obvious. Well, Trajan said it himself. He said we really want to, focus on the internal depth and see what this core can do and how far they can take you. So while I do believe there's a lot of buy-in and promise with this young core, I think they've shown the ability to play well together. I think they've shown the ability to, take some kind of steps in some areas of their game. There still is a lot to be desired offensively. I'm tired of seeing Cade getting double and triple teamed so much, and that's going to be a good focal point, towards the end of the season and into the postseason as well, depending on where they go. And honestly, you don't really know what is to tell with the future of this team or the NBA in general. Like it's the sports just as a whole. Like granted, again, the Lions Pistons thing it's a little more similar than people maybe want to give it credit to, but like that Micah Parsons trade like tipped the entire scale of the NFC North, unfortunately. And granted, I understand to an extent why Brad was maybe hesitant to making any kind of moves for the Lions. I think the Pistons have afforded the ability to maybe be a little bit more patient. Having Ivy come back from injury, not being able to see a lot of time with Duran, Asar, Cade, Ivy, Tobias, Stu, really seeing that whole core together working and, seeing what they look like. I think at this point, you're getting a little closer to some questions being answered. So, again, while it may not take a splash for them to kind of be stable, like if they had, granted, Beasley's name is obviously so popular. If he was still on this rotation, this roster, I think things are completely different from how they changed because the Pistons' success has not really required them to be this, all-star level, high-level offensive team because they play through their defense and they get that buy-in from everybody. It's been, again, it's not like it's just Asar or Stu that's backpacking defensively. Everybody is giving you assistance on a defensive level, but offense is extremely important when, things tighten up towards the postseason as well. So I really do want to see them try to find a way to add some more shooting just so you can rid all doubt. You want to go into these kind of situations as confident as possible. Like you don't want to be, searching for resolutions and just leaning on the inexperience of guys, in these, tough situations, especially when the East is as open as it is. And when you've shown the ability to beat and compete with everybody, like you want to be able to keep that like assurance as high as possible. So yeah, again, I understand their logic of wanting to be patient, but it would be a little wise for me to kind of keep an eye open and make sure you're kind of fine-tuning those margins of adding some shooting and some offensive lift for this team because they still could use it. I think the Pistons, I think, are still bottom half of a 3-point shooting team. And again, it's kind of inconsistent. There's some nights where it looks good where they can get out and run or they're hot, but when they're cold, like we saw yesterday against the Clippers, that says enough right there. You don't want to be playing that kind of inconsistent ball as the end of the season approaches.
I think through 38 games, it's mostly cold. Like they've had a couple of games recently where they made maybe 12 to 14 threes, but we know that's not a consistent thing they can do on a night-to-night basis.
Right.
You can't rely on living in the paint every game. Like, and I think you're starting to see teams just kind of like, okay, Asar, we know that you like to, get to the basket. We're just going to stay back here because we know you're not a perimeter threat. We know you're not going to shoot. You're going to pass it, or you're going to try to dribble at the top of the key and just try to get to the lane. I think teams are going to start game planning for how the Pistons like to play in the paint. And you can't rely on free throws either, even though this is a team that is in the top half of the league of getting to the free throw line. Once the playoffs start, I mean, it's going to be margin for errors will be so little and so small. That's why perimeter shooting matters so much throughout an NBA playoff series and in a regular season for that matter. But I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what Trajan's approach is. Obviously, I don't think he's just not going to do anything. I think the word that I keep seeing is opportunistic, and it made me think of the Dennis Schroeder trade. Shout out to Dennis, by the way.
Yeah. That's my dog. Shout out. I should have had a Dennis jersey on right now.
Squabble up.
Squabble up, Dennis. Squabble up. But, I'm with you, though, man. Yeah, because you see, like, you talk about free throws. I think the Pistons are also, like, I think they're the second to worst team in the league in free throw shooting as well. And it's no more important time to be able to shoot free throws than in the postseason as well. Like, if you're a team that wants to prioritize paint scoring and being physical, you're going to have to be able to shoot free throws. And you've had a lot of guys, Cade Cunningham included. There's a lot of guys that have shown that they've missed late game free throws, and that's not going to be able to fly when you're trying to get to, new heights and new levels. And especially now, like, again, if the Pistons get into the postseason, based on what we've seen now, it would be cool for them to win a first round, playoff, matchup, whoever they play, whether it's Miami or Cleveland, Atlanta, whoever it will be. If you win, that's cool. You have a chance to still do more. It is good to overachieve when that opportunity is there. There's nothing wrong with kicking the door open like Indiana did or when Atlanta did when they had Trae Young and they were able to beat the Sixers. Like, it helps to expedite your processing. And again, it does seem to an extent, again, I could be wrong as they keep progressing, but it does seem like they just need a little bit more to make sure they're leaving little doubt when getting ready for these postseason matchups.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, you can't get to the free throw line as much as they do and leave so many points off the table. Like,
man,
I'm listening to the broadcast. So like, yeah, they're shooting like 70% as a team. And like, I'm looking at the percentages. I'm like, bro, how is Duncan Robinson like not making his free throws? He's a pretty good free throw shooter. Right. Cade, for the most part, we know he's pretty consistent, but he's had games where he's just like 50% from the line, which is just like so rare for him. But like, I had a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it was New Year's resolutions. And one of the New Year's resolutions was be a better free throw shooting team, man. Because you leave so much. Between that and the turnovers, like, you could have you, like, crash it out when you're watching the game. You're like, man, like, if you guys just clean up your turnovers and capitalize at the line, you'd be blowing teams out. They wouldn't be this, like, so close down to the wire where you got palpitations watching these games each and every night.
Especially the technical foul free throws. There was a stretch where every time you would line them up with 53 seconds or somebody gets teed up, they would miss. And it don't matter who it was. It would be Karras or Cade or Duran, like Asar. It's just way too many of y'all that this is becoming constant with. Like, it has to be some kind of certainty going into, especially when that's your identity. If they were a team that had shooters all around, maybe it would make a little bit more sense. You are a team that wants to get inside and drive and be physical and live at the rim. If that's the case, if you have these athletes that want to play like that, you have to be able to make your team or your opponent pay by bleeding them at the free throw line. And if you're sitting there constantly splitting the difference or missing two, you're going to be in trouble playing against some of these, teams that could make you pay for those mistakes. Again, hopefully that's not the case, but again, I really want to see them prove it, before we're, stepping in confident in these kind of conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this team is really good, and the success they're having, I think, is great. I think that playoff series did so much for them in terms of just preparation, mentally, how they attack games. But they're still leaving a lot of areas where they can get even better. Like they could be almost like OKC-esque if they clean up on turnovers and
Yeah.
capitalize at the free throw line. Because you get to the free throw line 30 times a game and you're making 80% of them. These games aren't going to be 2-point games going down to the wire. Like
Right.
you take care of these games. There's been a couple this year where like we lost the game because of free throws. Like down the stretch, like the Dallas game. Like Stu makes both of those free throws, we probably win that game. Doesn't go into overtime. Cade had a chance to tie the Boston game the first time we played them during the winning streak. I memean, there's been games where free throws have cost you down the stretch, but I'm sure they'll improve it. I'm sure they practice it. I don't know how much they let you guys see. I'm sure when you guys go down there and interview the players, it's a shoot around, so you don't get to see the full practice. But
Right.
I know that they're practicing free throws. It's just like most opportunistic times they just miss for whatever reason.
Yeah, those are the things, going back to high school hoops, like those are the things that the coaches would say, hey, we got to be able to make sure we iron out the fundamental details and the fundamental, X's and O's. And free throws are always one of those things. Turnovers, taking care of the ball, and knocking down your free throws. Even if you miss a shot, we want to at the very least make the possession count by getting a quality look and making our opponent pay by knocking down our freebies. And, from that, even like layups, like it seems like the Pistons just have a really hard time sometimes just, knocking down the freebies that they want to be able to rely on. Again, if this is going to be your identity, you have to make sure that's something consistent. And unfortunately, we haven't seen that enough this season to be as confident as we want to be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know all these guys, like they could probably make 100 free throws in their sleep with like just no one around, but it just gets to like game action and like game reps, which is really hard to replicate.
Right.
I did see a comment in the live chat. I know a couple of people have mentioned it as we are talking about trades. What about the trade exception? They do have one. It's 14 million. I don't know if they're going to use it. It would make sense for them to use it if they wanted to. Let's say a guy's on a $28 million trade. You could only, take 14 of that
14,
or 15 of that if they want to use it. In most cases, teams don't really use trade exceptions, but I would be surprised if Trajan doesn't use it, kind of given where this team is at. And like, if you can get a shooter, let's just say we'll use Grayson Allen, for example. He's on a $18 million deal. The trade exception, it could be 4. So, I mean, it just kind of really depends on like how you want to use it, what players you're looking at. But I have no idea if they're going to use it, Eric. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I've asked around a little bit to see if they're interested in making that a pressing need before the deadline, and I'm not really hearing a lot. It doesn't look like it's a priority as of Trajan's cues right now. And for the Pistons' benefit, it's because of how they're playing. If they were like, I forgot what the numbers were, but the numbers that they have shown in terms of how they play without Cade, without Duren, without Tobias, without Stu, like they've had winning records with basically all those guys off the floor. Like the breakout story of Dennis Jenkins, the success of Javonte Green, the progression of Ron Holland. Like it's a lot of things that we're seeing and how they play, even when they lose games. Like they had no business being up 19 points with a healthy Kawhi Leonard and James Harden yesterday against the Clippers, but they competed and they still, were able to show that we feel like we're fine next man up regardless. So again, if they were losing games, if they were like in the 5th seed right now and like in the middling ground of the East, then yeah, maybe he'd probably be breaking the glass and, trying to find a partner and finding a way to get better. But when you're this high right now, and again, even like the Knicks and Boston and Toronto, they're good teams, but they've shown, a little bit of flaw as well, and you've competed well with just about all of them. I don't think they played Toronto yet, if I'm not mistaken, but looking at all the other teams that they played against, you've been fine against just about everybody. Like, it hasn't really been a whole lot of blowouts or games on the schedule where they show that they can't compete with anybody, injuries or not. So knowing that they've been fine with their next man mentality gives them the ability to stay patient. And, that's just credit to JB Biggerstaff and how prepared he's had this team all season.
Yeah, I did misspeak. You can't trade Grayson Allen into your TPE. They have to be players around the $14 million range. I did speak there. My bad, you guys. I don't know what I read earlier. Probably just a bad article. I think it was from I can't remember it, and the publisher's probably happy I don't remember it, but can't remember who I read today. It was definitely a Detroit sports news outlet that did suggest that. But my bad, you guys. I probably should have done my homework better. But I know we kind of just talked about big moves, different avenues, free throws, Dennis Schroeder. I mean,
we even all in and out. We all over the place.
It kind of went everywhere. I did kind of want to stick with how this team is playing now. Stephen A. Smith is a huge Knicks fan, and this week the Pistons just complete belt the ass on the Knicks, which warmed my heart. I don't know about you. Warmed my heart.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
all the national media has had like the Knicks just like carrying their torch, saying they're the best team in the East. He went and said the Pistons, as presently constructed, could win the championship. Now, do you agree with that? Without making any moves, the way that they're built, the way this team is constructed, do you think that they are a championship team and could make it out of the East?
So win a championship was bold. I thought he was going to say they could just make it to the finals. He said they could win the chip as they're constructed. And I don't know, man. I loved hearing it just because we're so used to hearing the national media constantly just dunk on Detroit. Even the conversation we had last time we were here of why the national media isn't giving the team as much credit as they deserve. There's still odds makers that are saying that the Knicks or the Celtics are the real favorites to come out of the East and all that. So do I think they can win a championship as constructed? It's not impossible. I would have liked to see them maybe play OKC at least once. They haven't done that yet, and they're still, the cream of the crop in the Western Conference. So maybe if we saw them play head-to-head, I would have a little bit more of a more confident answer. I think they can make it out for sure. I think the way Cade is playing basketball at an MVP level, I think with the progression that we've seen from a lot of the young players, the way that they're able to sacrifice and play, as a team and as a unit, and, be able to kind of pick up the scraps for when teams and when times get a little rough for them, whether their defense is looking tough or their offense is looking tough. We've seen them find ways to, change the momentum of a game, whether it's Ron Holland or Javonte Green, defense that kind of turns things around. Duncan Robinson heating up, Cade playing more in the post. He's been getting more to the free throw line a lot more lately. Do I think they can win a championship? I don't know if I'll be confident enough to say that yet. Again, I kind of just want to see what it looks like in a postseason setting before I'm confident enough, just because a lot of the pieces that they've added in and they're now relying so heavily on weren't here last season. If this was the same core with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Beasley and a healthy Tobias and they were playing like this, then I could confidently say, yeah, I think this could definitely be a championship level team. But right now, we're still seeing a lot of things a little different with this team. Again, I like some of the improvements. I like some of the breakout play that we've seen. I don't know if I would say they could win a championship right now. I do think they have championship DNA based on how their foundation is laid with, winning on the rebounding glass and, playing in the paint and having a superstar that kind of offsets a lot of the areas where you may be struggling at. I think those are all important recipes to have. But this is still a young team that we're seeing right now with a lot of new pieces that sometimes look good and sometimes are not as crisp as you want them to be. But in an Eastern Conference like this right now, I definitely think the Pistons should be favored to come out of the East. Whether they can win the title, I think that may be a little premature as of right now. But that's a good problem to have. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing wrong when you go on national TV and like everyone has just been crowning the Knicks as like a team to make it out of the East and make the Eastern Conference Finals with Indiana not even in the picture. Boston is still highly competitive. Who knows if Tatum comes back? But I could understand it, just the way that they played. Like the way that they played, it was kind of like sending a message to the Knicks and the rest of the East. So it's like, our depth is our strength. We can match up with anyone any given night. You saw it last night, like against Kawhi and Harden. Like they had a bunch of guys, the two-way guy and Tolu Smith playing big minutes, and like they were winning for like 80% of that game. Just turnovers and three-point shooting kind of bit them in the ass, and free throws, by the way. But I think this team is much improved. Just kind of looking at the seeding right now, depending on what would happen between a play-in tournament between Cleveland and Miami, you could be playing one of those. I mean, wouldn't that be something?
Oh yeah. Oh my
JB
goodness.
Bickerstaff playing his old team in the first round and sending them home.
Oh my goodness.
Just rate the 30 for 30 now.
Have his own Dennis Schroeder moment to Donovan Mitchell walking off the court. Oh my God, that would be brutal. But that is very possible. I called him to get in the season. I was not bought into Cleveland at all. I think a lot of the holes that they've seen in terms of being a defensive team, in terms of how they can't rebound, in terms of, the lack of progression, I think, from Evan Mobley. Again, these are good players, but we haven't seen the jumps and the continuity from them really be what we need. And they're super injured a lot too. They're missing their shooters. A lot of their guys that we expected to, kind of be as good as they have been. They just haven't been what, they've expected at this point. So that would be a great first round matchup. Again, to see them as low as they are, I'm shocked by. I didn't think they were a championship ready team, but I didn't think they would be teetering around the 8th seed right now. That is pretty surprising.
Not to mention, they're the most expensive team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Second apron team.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Bad news for them.
Would not surprise me if you see Darius Garland on the move. It would not surprise me whatsoever.
Me neither.
Hey man, Minnesota needs a point guard. That'd be a good duo with him and Ant.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a fun duo. Maybe Orlando. I don't even know.
No, please not Orlando. Oh, that would be such a perfect move for them. Oh my goodness.
I know they need cheating for sure. But just looking at the seeding, you got the Knicks in second, Boston and Orlando in the first round again would be a bloodbath, or Toronto and Philly in the first round. Get that rivalry back after Kawhi hit that buzzer beater. Man, the East first round, I'm just telling you, man, the play-in teams, Atlanta and Chicago and the play-in again. That's just hilarious to me. But kind of circling back to Stephen A's comment, I think the Pistons have a very good chance of making it out of the first round. I think if everything goes right, depending on what happens to the trading deadline, you could make the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know how you could match up, depending on who comes out of the West. If OKC makes the finals, that would be a very hard team to play against because they have defenders everywhere. They're not a good matchup for the Detroit Pistons whatsoever. What happens with San Antonio? You don't really have a matchup for Wembanyama whatsoever. Nobody does. He's just huge. The Houston gets their shit together. Even though we've beaten Houston, Houston's playing much better basketball. It'll be interesting to see how they do. But I think if everything goes right, this could be an Eastern Conference Finals team. It just kind of depends who gets matched up in the first round, injuries, who stays healthy, and what happens at the deadline.
Yeah, and that could be a little bit unpredictable, but again, it's basing on what we've seen thus far. They've done a good job of showing that they're capable of playing against anybody at this point. I think the East deserves a lot more credit than they deserve. I'm tired of hearing it's just a crapshoot, not a crapshoot, but a guarantee that it only has to be the West. Again, I do like a lot of the talent in the teams in the East. But obviously when the top is SGA reigning MVP, obviously defending champs with all the depth that they have, and Jokic being right behind them, with a team that's also dealt with a lot of injuries, but still playing really good basketball at the end of the day. I just think, as of right now, the Pistons are in a position where we've seen them back from even the 2004 days. You got to prove it first, and I think that's fair for them. Again, as a young team, as a team that's still kind of they're winning in a way that's unconventional per what we've seen over the past 5 to 10 years in the NBA, where teams don't just strictly rely on the development of their young guys. They all think, okay, we got to go find somebody else. And a lot of those teams in the West we talked about, even in the East as well, have found, little pieces to add to their roster to, make a little bit better in preparation for moments like this. And the Pistons are kind of just going against the grain to do their own thing. It's a very common approach with Detroit sports teams for sure. And obviously right now it's working for them. So again, even with my skeptical, thinking of how far they can go, it has been working for them. We've seen them play well. It's not like they're just being, stubborn, through droughts. They're winning and playing good basketball. again, to hold James Harden to 4 of 20 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. Really getting flustered by guys like Javonte Green and Asar. Like, it was very encouraging to see that. And, I think that's obviously encouraging, knowing that you want to see them play better in the postseason. They've also done better against star, because again, in star matchups, a lot of those guys are going to try to get to the foul line and get you in foul trouble. I think since what game was it? I forget. It was one of their West Coast games. I think it was after the Kawhi game where they picked them apart for 55. After that, they've done a really good job of kind of avoiding the foul baiters like Luka and Jalen Brunson. They've done a really good job of being a little bit more disciplined with not reaching in, falling for all the up fakes, and that just shows, the steps of progression of them as a defensive team, which is super important when you're trying to get ready for the postseason. So I like some of the progressions that we've seen in terms of their individual development. But if it's going to work for real, I think we have to prove it first before we can buy in and say, yeah, this is the real thing.
Yeah, I feel like they're close. I don't really feel that they're that far away.
I agree.
I think when you look at like our previous championship teams, they all have a common theme, and it's being a tough defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you see with Beef Stew, Asar, Javonte Green, who is such a under the radar value pick, like it's starting to pay dividends. Like having Javonte and Ron off your bench after you have to deal with Asar, man, like if I was an offensive player, I'd be like, fuck. Because like these guys are just like dogs defensively. Like Ron last night, man, like single-handedly, like it didn't look like the Clippers wanted to come back in this game. He was dunking everything.
Yes.
Being a menace. That play where he dove on the floor and then he passed it for an outlet pass for a transition dunk. I was like, man, like this is the energy that kid plays with. It's so contagious with everyone else on the team. But kind of circling back, I think they're just like maybe one piece away. One like 20-point per game scorer next to Cade in the starting lineup where they could really be a problem in the East.
Yeah, Trajan you're talking about value. Like this is the second season where he's been able to just kind of, take that coupon shopping, and it really has yielded some unbelievable dividends. Last season, it was Beasley with, the super cheap deal he was on and how amazing he was in the season. And now you have guys like Wu, guys like Dennis Jenkins who have saved them game after game. It's been unbelievable. Like I made a lot of Lions comparisons, but this is what happens like if a Marcus Davenport actually was good for the Detroit Lions instead of being horrible and injured all the time. This is what it would look like where you could actually say, see, my plan is working, guys. The Lions don't have that, but the Pistons do. They've done a great job of really just getting the best out of all their guys, and all of them finding a way to impact winning in some kind of way that they've needed. Like what Ron did yesterday was spectacular. I personally wish he would have stayed in the game, after that windmill dunk. And just the confidence that he's been playing with on both ends of the floor and his ability to buy into what the team needs. Because I feel like, for me, I think it might have been you who were talking about who we had expectations for to take some of the biggest steps. I thought we were going to see more offensively from Ron, but I'm happy that he's still kind of taking his time instead of trying to play look at me hero ball. Like I can be a takeover guy. I can be more for this team. He's really just, hey, what y'all need me to do? And he goes out there with his lunch pail and he works. So like, I like that he hasn't been like over aggressive, but we're still seeing the progression and at least the confidence. Like for me, I don't mind that he shot 1 of 7 from 3 yesterday. I like the fact that he was still at least confident to take those shots and not stop. Like I think one of them he airballed, and then on the very next possession he did an ISO against Kawhi Leonard and got him into an and one. So like I like seeing those steps of progression because sometimes that's a little bit more than what the numbers will say, because for young teams and young players, sometimes just the confidence to try things and grow their games in that area shows that things are working or stepping in the right direction. So yeah, they've been fantastic with getting the most out of some of the guys that maybe pretty slept on. Even guys like Marcus Sasser having some huge games and some big performances. That's going to be huge for their confidence heading into the playoffs, that they're going to need them in certain stretches if there's injuries or if they just need, somebody to kind of help tip the energy for them. These kind of moments are big for that in preparation for that later in the season. So, again, that's kudos to JB and definitely kudos to Trajan Langdon for what they've gotten acquired so far.
I would say, using a baseball term, Trajan has hit a lot of singles. Like,
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of the moves have just been like solid singles. Like, we haven't seen a double, we haven't seen a triple, we haven't seen the home run.
Not a sexy
That
home run grand slam, right?
No, even though he did play baseball for a little bit, apparently he wasn't that good. That's why he
In
did.
Alaska?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think who he got. He got drafted by a minor league team. I have to reach out to my guy Rogelio, who does the Tiger minor league report. He would know.
Okay.
He's an absolute sickle when it comes to baseball stuff like that. But he did get drafted. Obviously, he didn't do anything with it. He decided to play college basketball at Duke, but he was a baseball guy. But I'm waiting for that home run move by Trajan, because I feel like it's coming like really, really soon. I feel like I've said that for like 2 years in a row, but I know it's coming. I feel like you have the contracts. No one's on a really big deal outside of Cade, which you're completely fine with that because he's your franchise guy. But I feel the home run move coming by Trajan. Right now, it's just been a lot of like singles, bunts, and it's worked. I'm interested to see what happens when he tries to go and maybe you add a draft pick, maybe a lower end guy on the bench to try to maybe just add to the margins where it doesn't take away from the young core that you have.
Yeah, that's going to have to come soon, I believe. Again, I'm okay with their approach for this season of wanting to see where guys are. But there's also a lot of, deals that are going to have to come up too. Duren, obviously, heading into restricted free agency after the season. Asar could be, due for a payday soon. There's obviously discussion of guys like Ivy and other people, getting paid. And it's going to be just a little more difficult to kind of make some of those moves based on whatever you may have to pay for some of those guys. So, again, it's easier to have those conversations if you have a championship to show for it. Like, if people got to go, it is what it is. But I feel like it's important to also take advantage of what those timelines and those windows are. So, again, I'm okay with the patience. I think whatever that big home run move that's going to happen is going to be the biggest of Trajan's tenure here thus far, because right now you've been able to, bargain shop and kind of just, hey, let me just build with Cade and, add a little few pieces here, and we'll just see what works and see where we can grow from and see what notes we can take from here. But yeah, I don't want to be too patient, because again, I think Cade has been a great soldier of not making any noise. But I think you got to take advantage of his window right now. You don't see a whole lot of franchise players that have to wait this long to get their number 2 solidified star. Like, Paolo got his pretty quickly by adding Desmond Bane. Wemby got his pretty quickly. We obviously saw with Cleveland adding Donovan Mitchell. Toronto kind of got it quick. They think Scottie is their guy, but they went and got Brandon Ingram to go with him. So a lot of these guys have, got their guys already, and Cade is really just making it do with whatever he's got. And again, you never know what can happen. Luckily, he's been he's dealing with an injury now, but he's been relatively healthy over the past couple seasons, and you really want to take advantage of that. So, yeah, I'm really intrigued of what that big move will be if it comes, because I do think it has to come pretty much sooner than later with these guys.
I know we got a comment in the live chat. It does kind of pertain to like big moves. And I know Jaden Ivey is kind of been up and down. There's been games where I thought the Knicks game coming off the bench, it was great. I thought like you really saw his impact coming off the bench. Life with Chris does have a comment saying, should we move Ivy? I don't think the Pistons will pay him. I kind of said my piece yesterday on his trade value overall, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. I don't know if we have the same opinion or not, but I mean, what's kind of your take on, one, Jaden Ivey since he's come back, and 2, what do you think the Pistons could or couldn't do with his situation?
He's a superstar. That's what y'all want me to say, right? Y'all think I'm the Ivy guy and I'm just super biased and I can't hold nobody accountable. He's a superstar. He's Dwayne Wade Jr. Nah, man. I think Ivy's he's in a tough spot still, man. I've been patient with him because I think he was playing fantastic last season, and coming into this year, obviously he's just not the same guy. I think the injury is kind of weighing on him mentally and physically. Like, the burst just isn't there. But I do like how he's adjusted his game so far. I like, kind of like I just said about Ron Holland, I like how Ivy's playing to some extent. Like, his turnovers have come down, obviously, because his usage isn't as high. But I like that he's kind of just playing within the flow of the team and doing what they need him to do, instead of him going out and trying to say, hey, y'all, I still got it. You can rely on me. I can still be that guy. Instead of trying to prove that you're still that guy, he's just really trying to do what the team needs him to do. And I think that's a good thing. In terms of what his value can be, I think he's kind of really determining it and setting it right now. I don't think he has a big market at this point because I think he hasn't really had a turn the clock game where it still looks like he could be that guy or somebody that could be a building block for a young team like a New Orleans or the Wizards or somebody else. So it's always funny when people be in my mentions talking about, you got to trade Ivy, you got to get rid of him, he doesn't fit. All right, where you want him to go? Because if y'all are telling me that he's buns, who's gonna take him on, and why would they? If he's not what if he's what y'all say he is, who's gonna take the gamble on acquiring him? Especially if again, because it's never trade him for like the guys you mentioned, the Grayson Allen or the marginal improvement guys. Go trade him for MPJ. You gotta ship him for Trey Murphy. Like you think that's enough? You think that's for what he is and how he's playing? I just don't think that's realistic. I think it's obviously taking him some time. He's had some good games.'s had some bad games. My problem has just constantly been because, again, every time he misses a shot, I got people in my mention, see, told you. I just try to understand. I've been talking about this on Twitter all day. If he's going to be a scapegoat for every single time he has a bad game, if it's always, see, he doesn't fit when he has a bad game or he's underperforming, have that same energy for the other guys because there's no perfect player on this roster. There are other guys that are not perfect in terms of two-way production, and I don't hear none of that same criticism for some of those players. So if you want to have it that way, be consistent across the board. I feel like Ivy's deficiencies, which again, talk about him. If he needs to improve in areas, no problem. But there's other players who have deficiencies too, who we called on, and we wanted to see them get better. And when they take those steps, they get credit. I think it's smart that Ivy's just kind of playing within the flow of the team and doing what they need him to do. He's not rushing anything. I still think a lot of shots that he's taking are good shots too. He's just not making them, and that's okay for right now. So again, he's had some good games and some bad games. I think he's still kind of pricing what his value is going to be right now. I don't think it's set in stone either way. I just hate all the hate that this dude is getting, man. I personally just don't understand it. I really don't.
So my interactions with fans that are anti-Ivy, I don't really think they're anti-Ivy. I think the way I look at it is more to do with the organization. And I'll kind of go down this rabbit hole of why I think people don't actually dislike Jaden Ivey.
Okay.
I think when you mentioned it earlier, a lot of players that are in a similar age bracket as Cade Cunningham, as superstars, have had their number two. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of Pistons fans were expecting Jaden Ivey to possibly be that number two, and he's had ups and downs. I think those 30 games last year, he was starting to come into his own. Then he gets his leg snapped by Cole Anthony being reckless, and he rehabbed, and he just hasn't looked the same, and that's to be expected. It might take him a full year just to get back into the groove athletically, and just the way he's playing right now. With that being said, I think the fans are just frustrated that Cade doesn't have a number two option, and Ivy gets the brunt of the hate because if he's not productive and he's inconsistent, fans would be like, see, we need another number two option, and Ivy's not it. It's not really Ivy's fault. He could be a good sixth man. Like, he could 100% be a sixth man off this bench, sure, and I would be completely fine with it. Like, if that's his role, that's his role. I thought, the Knicks game, that was a perfect six-man game. He wasn't starting. He was productive off the bench with Stu. He was getting into his zone. He was hitting shots. Like, if he's going to be a six-man, I'm fine with that. But I think the narrative with him right now is so many people have their eyes on him because of the contract extension, because they're worried of what it actually could cost to keep him, which, have something to break for you guys, it's not going to be as much as you think. His value is completely tanked. It's not going to be $30 million a year to keep Jaden Ivey in a Detroit Pistons uniform. Unless another team wants to pay him that. I mean, if you're Utah, go for it. I mean, like, if Utah's going to pay you $30 million, like, you know what? Like, I like you, Ivy, but I don't like you for $30 million. Go get your bag. Go take care of your family. But it's not going to cost $30 million to re-sign him. It's just not. I think his value has completely tanked. I think trading him is extremely difficult, and everything that you said, saying like, yeah, you want to throw him in all these, trades for whether it be Trey Murphy, Michael Porter Jr., Lauri Markkanen, whatever. It's going to take more than just straight up Jaden Ivey, because he hasn't really been as consistent as he was last year. He's been up and down. There have been games where he looks fantastic out there, but these last two starts, he just doesn't look like himself. And like he went from coming off the bench in limited minutes to, hey, yeah, you're in the starting lineup. Go adjust to that. That's a huge adjustment if you ask me. Like if you played basketball at any level, from being in the starting lineup, which he's been in the starting lineup, but he's coming off an injury. I'm not giving the guy an excuse, but it is a huge adjustment. I think fans are just really frustrated with not having that 20-point per game scorer next to Cade Cunningham. Obviously, we want to see Ivy do the best as he can in a Detroit Pistons uniform, but we have to just be objective and call it down the middle. There have been games he just has not been good defensively. There have been games where he's just getting beat off the dribble. He's hacking, he's following. I mean, that's why there's been games where JB just doesn't play him, because he's looking for someone that's going to play more defense. But I mean, overall, just the discourse with him is just really weird. I feel like he probably gets, him and Karis LeVert get the most hate out of any Pistons, but Karis LeVert is a completely different reason why he gets hated.
Yes.
But just to circle back, like the whole Ivy discourse, I don't think the Pistons trade him. I don't. Like I probably don't see him being dealt at the deadline, and I could see a situation where maybe he does take a little hometown discount to stay here in Detroit and possibly be a sixth man or maybe a starter. It really depends on what Trajan and the Pistons want to do.
I think what you said is totally fair. I have no problem if that's the expectation or the hope or the desire of the fan base of when is Cade going to get his number 2 guy. But based on what you just said and based on what we've seen thus far, we were getting that last season. Like, I don't understand, because a lot of these same critics have been saying the same thing from last year. It's been, again, when his progression was coming last year, when he was, giving you career high in scoring, he was becoming a reliable 3-point shooter in multiple situations, 40% from catching 3. He was creating his own looks. He was one of the guys that they were relying on to close games for them with Cade on or off the floor. We saw that, and people were still upset. Oh, but his rim finishing. Oh, but his defense. It's like, bruh, there's no such thing as a perfect player, and he doesn't have to be perfect for this to work. That's the problem that I have. And you talk about circumstances with him, and I think that's 100% fair. Going back from the start of his career, and again, it's the league. You have to adjust. It is what it is. But I do think if we're going to give grace to certain other players who we may or may not talk about, I think he's somebody that really deserves a lot more grace than other people have given. Coming in his rookie year, Cade being gone basically the whole season, and now he is to run the show as a starting point guard. Second year, Monty Williams, we know how that went. Third year, I get my legs snapped after 30 games when I'm playing the best of my career, and I'm missing in action after that. Now this season, I'm basically kind of coming in on the fly after seeing my team play so well without me, and I'm just trying to fit in however I can. And again, now people are using, not people, but a lot of the haters using an injury if it's say, see, told you. Like, bruh, he's coming back from a snapped leg. He's not going to be the same guy. To me, he just can't get in the way. I'm not expecting him to be what we saw last season. Just don't get in the way. Don't come down like Jalen Green and try to play hero ball. Don't do no Cam Thomas ISOs. If you have a matchup that you think you can beat, go ahead and beat it. But play within the team before you try to go get your own, because right now it's just not fitting. And it's okay. Great. Because again, it's not getting in the way of the team. They're in a position where they kind of needed him to an extent, because coming into the game, I think he was shooting, 37% from 3? And they're still a team that's struggled and needed 3-point shooting and spacing. I think he's helped attack zones when other teams have thrown those zone defenses at him. And we've seen an improvement in his defense as well. Again, I totally understand people wanting to have that number 2 guy next to Cade, but you had a good glimpse of that last season and y'all still wasn't happy. So which one is it? It can't be both. I just want to see some consistency. Again, if you want to give him, or if you want to give others grace for situations that you think are unfair to them, you can offer a little bit of grace to the guy that's that's recovering from a snapped leg and has had his role change basically every season he's been in the NBA, especially while they're winning. If he came back and they were losing and it was clear that he's holding them back, then I can understand. while he's had some slow games, I don't think they've lost any games because of Jaden Ivey. And I wish people would just be a little bit more objective about that, in my opinion.
I think there is someone on the roster that has cost them games, but I'm not going to name his name. But
look at you being messy again.
Let's say he's in the rotation. I'll just say that, and he's in the rotation a lot, which I just dribbles the ball for 15 seconds. Like I got an ISO, but I was like, hey, you know. But I think it's more of just like I understand fans want to go all in and get that number 2 option for Cade, which I think the organization. They have more than enough proof that Cade is that dude.
Yeah.
Like, if you gave him a secondary option, like his best secondary option he's had, think about this. Jeremy Grant and Malik Beasley last year. Like, that's, like, no. Those are role players. Like, mid to high level role players. Like, I think Trajan in the front office have enough evidence of what they want to do. They're just not like messy with the way they leak information. It's very tight-lipped. There could be a player right now completely under the radar that could, come in and average 20 next to Cade. We just don't know right now. But hey, it'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline. I did want to kind of touch on the Jaden Ivey stuff because I feel like because you see it on the timeline just like I do. Like it seems like it's like every other day. It's just like if he plays good, cool. If he doesn't, we gotta start something. But
I'm telling you, every single time he misses a shot, see Eric, where you at for your guy now? It's 3 people specifically every single time. And then even when I'm objective and talk about like yesterday, I said Ivey's having a cold shooting night. He was horrible shooting yesterday, and people were still on my ass about what he was doing. Like, bro, like calling me biased, saying I can't have an objective conversation. Like, bro, this started with me being objective. Like, I don't understand. Again, I've never said that Ivey's has to stay here or he's an untouchable player or he's a max guy. I've never said any of that. He's got to earn his keep like everybody else. I just don't know what his critics want him to do. Again, I'm not sitting here telling you that he's playing amazing, but he has played well enough to not get in the way of this team, and he's also helped them play well enough to help them win games. Like the Laker game, he was really good. The New York game, he was really good. I think it was either a Celtics or a Bucks game where he was really impactful on both ends of the floor. And again, this is a JB Bickerstaff team. He said that he's one of the guys that can be impactful on both ends of the floor. There's some other guys who are not always impactful on both ends of the floor. Some of them give you bare minimum production, and y'all don't say nothing about that. And we don't have to talk about no names. You can talk about, imagine whoever it is. I don't want to have my words misconstrued and have out of context. But there are players y'all give a lot of grace to that don't give you two-way production all the time. So Ivey is doing what he needs to do in his circumstance. And I just think people need to be a little bit more fair about what they're seeing, especially while this team is still winning and playing good basketball.
Oh yeah, I mean it just I feel like certain Pistons sections, especially on Twitter, there's hives and there's fan bases and they have objectives that they're trying to get across. And like, hey, like I'm all for it. Like I have my favorite players. Am I a little bit biased towards them? Absolutely. Are there certain players on this roster that I just don't like and I don't think they should be in a Pistons uniform? Yeah, but I'm never going to tell you guys that because if I do, you'll clip it and put it out there. But hey, man, like no player is perfect. I love this team at the end of the day, but I do want to kind of get into a topic that I know that you got into. And before we kind of get into that, this will be a perfect segue into the Cade versus Luka conversation.
Oh,
so
roll my sleeves up. Hold on. Yes.
Right now over on FanDuel, you guys, Cade Cunningham is actually third best odds to win MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a minus 450. Luka Doncic is a plus 750. Cade is a plus 1800. This was plus 3000 2 weeks ago. So I mean, people are starting to get traction ever since Jokic went down. Jaylen Brown, a plus 4,000, and Jalen Brunson, plus 7,500. But, Eric, let's kind of get into a conversation that you had, especially after that Lakers game, after the Pistons had their best win in LA in over 30 years. Mm-hmm. Cade versus Luka debate. So you had a tweet saying you think that Cade Cunningham is better than Luka Doncic. In what context do you think he's better across the board? Is it individualism? Is it being a team leader? Because I think just reading that tweet, maybe some people can take it a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a lot of different ways. I think it's for sure leadership. I think it's being a floor and a ceiling raiser because I think when we seen Luka at his best when he was with Dallas, first of all, he was playing totally different. He had athleticism, he had burst, he had the ability to finish at the rim, and he's not really doing that at a consistent level with the Lakers anymore. He is turning more and more into a grenade launcher, a foul baiter, and a guy that I don't really think you can rely on really for the next several years with how his game is going. He's 26 right now, and I think he's kind of, I don't want to say he's maxing out, but he doesn't look like the same dude in any way, shape, or form. So for me, I think when you look at a guy like Cade Cunningham, he doesn't have any glaring flaws that, to me, just diminishes his game where opponents can take advantage of it. Opponents literally game plan by saying, how can we get Luka tired and in his most vulnerable position? Defense. In the Laker game against the Pistons, he was gassed by the fourth quarter because they were running up and down the floor so much. Lakers are an old team. LeBron can't run like that to keep up with these guys, and Luka for damn sure cannot run up and down the floor to keep up with these guys. So in that aspect, in terms of leadership, I don't think it's close. Cade Cunningham is a spectacular leader. He empowers his teammates all the time. He sets guys up in positions like the way JB Biggerstaff always says. He can, produce and, do his thing without taking food off of your plate. And I think that's spot on for the way that we see Cade and how others eat around him and produce around him. I think Luka just kind of goes and gets his. I think the numbers to me look a lot better than what he actually gives you. I think numbers and analytics skew a lot of conversations to make players look better than what they actually are. Because sitting through and watching Luka at this point is a brutal watch. I don't like watching Luka play basketball at this point anymore. And I think Cade just clears in terms of two-way ability. Like, Cade has shown the ability to be a great rim protector. He's good on the island. You can't hunt out a 6'7" guy like him who's very agile. I don't know. In the scoring, again, if you want to say Luka's a better scorer, I have no problem with that. But it's not such a clearing for Luka in terms of his scoring that it puts Cade far out in the rearview mirror. Like, that's not the case. If Cade was, let's say Cade was giving you like 16 and like 8 or something like that, and then but still giving you good defense, and then Luka's giving you exactly what he's giving you now, 30 plus, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, but no defense, then it's still a clearing. Yes, absolutely, Luka is still that. Cade is still able to go get you a 40 ball if he wanted to. Cade is still able to go get his if he has to. Like, we just saw him put up the 40-point triple-double against the Wizards when they didn't have half of their, availability on the roster. So for me, I don't really see the argument. Again, if people want to say Luka's better, I'm okay with it. I hate the people who always, it's such and such, and it's not even close. Like, bro, it can be close. Like, it's an argument to be had for both of them. But I think when you just watch them on a side-by-side, especially knowing that Cade is still in a position where he can get much better if his three-point shooting continues to round out, if his finishing continues to get better, and if the roster gets better where he's not getting trapped as often as he is, he can still be that much better. I don't know how much better Luka is going to be because the story for him this offseason was he lost so much weight. He looks better, and he still looks slow. Still moving like Jell-O in a bowl. Like, I'm not seeing anything from this dude that's impressive right now. Again, the numbers look good, but when you watch him play, I just don't see like the lift in terms of what he's doing for the team. And I don't want to hear. I had the Luka hive on my mentions all since that. Oh, but his team is worse. Bro, have you seen the players that Cade Cunningham has had to play with his entire career? Playing with Killian Hayes for 2 years, playing with Isaiah Livers as his go-to spacer, making Isaiah Stewart his most reliable spacer. Like, I'm not trying to hear that, bro. Sorry, yeah, he got bummed DeAndre Ayton, who's got ugly braids. That's not my problem. Go make it work. Cade has made it work with what he's had. He's never had a number 2, and he still made it work. Luka, again, the go-to argument that people are giving me with Luka, well, he's been to the finals, bro. Yeah, 2 years ago playing a different style with a team that was totally catered to him. He don't have Kyrie no more. He don't have the roster that he was playing with the Mavericks anymore. And I just think you see the difference when he don't have those kind of situations. So to me, I think it's clear cut and evident that Cade is the better player. And I don't know why I've been getting so much pushback about it. I really don't.
I can understand the pushback from Lakers and maybe Mavs fans just for the fact that Luka's been in the NBA a little bit longer than Cade. But I think your argument and what you're basing it off of is the stock of Cade Cunningham over a long period of time being very similar, or if not better than Luka Doncic in the long term. When I saw it, I was just like, I can kind of see the vision. But I think where people kind of had like pushback, like let's let Cade get there before we try to like, crown him as better than Luka. But like to your point, it's not like Cade Cunningham is averaging 15 points a game. Right. His averages are like 26, almost 27 a game, 9 assists. Obviously, the 3-point shot this year is just completely tanked, but you'd like to see him get better from 3. Obviously, having less spacing this year is probably a big contributor to that. But I mean, if you're just talking about overall two-way impact, Cade Cunningham to me is the better player. You're talking about a player that can just get to his own and score in bunches. It's Luka, but he is just a traffic cone defensively. Like he just does not play any sort of defense whatsoever. No. That's why I didn't really like when I saw it. I was like, that's not like a crazy take. Like I've seen way crazier takes on NBA Twitter, like way crazier takes. I feel like it's a take within like the next 4 to 5 years will age gracefully, and you'll probably get on like what did he know on Twitter. Like it'll probably be a good take in a couple of years, like because like just the way I'm looking at it, like Cade's game, like you just love to see it out of a guy that's a number 1 option, first overall draft pick, and he's out there, defending, point guards through centers. Like we've seen him switch on bigger power forwards, bigger centers. Like Luka has the size to do it. He just decides not to because he doesn't want to exert his energy on defense. And I don't know how many times I have to see JJ Redick crash out and just look at Luka saying like, switch.
His old team is telling him, come on, man. Like, heard Robert Horry say the same thing. He's struggling on defense. He's not really giving a whole lot of effort there, and his foul baiting offensively is hard to watch. And my one thing I want to say is, while I totally understand what you're saying of let Cade get there, I think it's important to define what the conversation is. Because, again, the go-to argument everyone is saying is, has Cade been to the finals? Has Cade won a playoff series? I'm not asking who has the better resume. That's the LeBron Jordan conversation. You want to bring the resumes up, that's totally fine. And obviously Luka would win that conversation. I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing about who is playing the best right now. That's not a resume conversation. Who is playing better right now on the court? Who would you rather have start your franchise? Who statistically, who impact-wise is playing better at this current moment? And I don't think that's a conversation that needs to be had in terms of let Cade get there. It's not about who get there. They're playing right now, and who's been better. That's a very simplistic question. That's all I was trying to give. And yet so many people on my ass, but if he hasn't been this, and if he hasn't got to the playoffs, we always have to wait for these guys to get crowned by winning in the postseason. If y'all wanted to value the regular season, that's your business. I don't do that. Not you specifically, man, but I don't like people devaluing the regular season anymore. Like, I think it counts and should have some weight to be as good as you can be in the regular season, because guess what? Breaking news, guys. In order to get to the playoffs, you have to win in the regular season. That's just a fact. So I'm not the guy that's going to devalue what the regular season means and what those accomplishments look like and the play looks like. But I also want to specify what my point was, because people all want to throw resumes and, how many All-Stars has Cade been to? Or how many playoff series has he won? That's not my point. Who's playing the best right now? I think it's Cade, hands down. That's my opinion.
Yeah, like for sure. Like I think there's a lot of different debates and a lot of different avenues you can go down. Like if you're just saying like right now, absolutely, I think Cade Cunningham is playing better basketball on both ends of the floor. If you're just talking about longevity and like if you want to match them up, just side to side throughout their careers, obviously Luka's won more playoff series, he's won more games. But I think again, like if you're starting a franchise right now and you ask general managers across the league, who would you rather start a franchise with? Luka Doncic or Cade Cunningham. I think Cade would probably get the edge because he's a two-way player, and you're still getting the playmaking ability, and you're still getting just the all-around game, mid-range, getting to the basket, getting to the free throw line. I will say, if Cade was in a Laker uniform, he probably would get just as many calls as Luka. I'm just saying that
no
first
question.
and foremost.
No
It's
question.
It's just because he's in a Detroit uniform. I swear, man. Like
Yes.
Detroit players just don't get the respect from the officials or the whistles. But I mean, don't clip that I said if Cade was in the Laker uniform, because I know one of you sickles will do that.
They on it right now, bro. It's too late.
Yeah, we're already seeing like the superstar push. Like, I don't know. Did you see that like weird ass Foot Locker promo that they had him?
Yeah, hey, we gotta talk about that. I don't know what. I love the push you get, big dog, but I looked at those shoes. I'm like
Crocs.
Huh? These like Kanye West Crocs you got, bro. What are we doing here? We couldn't do nothing else. We couldn't do nothing better than that. Is that what we okay?
He's definitely getting that superstar push. I mean, like the All-Star voting says it itself, like fourth in All-Star votes, which, maybe the next American-born MVP. You never really know. I mean, we got all these Europeans getting in, or Canadians, or just not Americans. Like Cade has a good shot of being I know Mr. Ray said face of the league if he was a Laker. 100% agree with you. We're not saying Cade's going to be a Laker. Don't clip that.
No, it's not happening. No, there's no Nico Harrison over here. That's not going to happen. Don't worry, guys.
No. But it's honestly kind of funny. It really is. I do have one more topic for the podcast. I'll answer your question first, Chris, because I have no idea how long this next segment's going to be. Chris had a question for both of us as Pistons guys. Do you sometimes have to watch yours because of the organization might block you from asking a question? I don't have to deal with that because I'm not credentialed. Eric, on the other hand, I'm sure has to mind his manners when he's in a media room. But I think that's a question more for you, big dog.
Man, I was shout out to Vince Ellis. He doesn't follow me on Twitter, but he works very close with Tom Gores and the Pistons media team. And again, he doesn't follow me, but I was watching pregame and shoot around, and he comes and sits down next to me. He goes, "Hey man, you've been going hard on this Jaden Ivey conversation, man. Like we kind of had a little debate about it, and then he left." I'm like, how does he know that? You don't follow me, bro. So how in the world are you aware of that? So yeah, I got to be very careful about what I'm saying. I can't crash out the way I want to. Maybe 5 years ago I would have been allowed to, but at this point, I definitely got to have some professionalism and how I address topics, how I address fans. That's 100% the thing. Yes, I can't be wilding out here the way I want to be sometimes. So even though y'all push me to get to that point, I'm still I will not compromise my professionalism. It's not going to happen. So, yes, you're 100% right, Chris.
I know that people in the Pistons organization watch my stuff because I was on LinkedIn this week and I made a graphic, and then someone from the Pistons organization not only downloaded it, took it, and posted it because they the G League was on FanDuel. And I was like, who is that guy? I said, wait, that's my graphic. Oh, he downloaded it? Oh, he didn't give me credit. What the hell's going on, man? No, but it's all love from the Pistons. I know that they have people that do watch our stuff. I've gotten emails saying well, we love the positivity that you're doing. We love all the coverage that you're giving us, even though you're not credentialed. Just know that I do hold back with what I say because I know that there are people watching, and I have to be very responsible with what I say because the platform I do have, something that I've built, and I don't want to get it taken away from just one bonehead take or one asinine take. That's what the group text is for.
That's what our group text is for. Exactly. Now we understand. No, yeah, it's a lot of eyes out here, man. You got to be careful in some way, shape, or form. Again, and honestly, I want that respect too. Again, I have some strong views and opinions, but I don't want to be looked at as a crash out, on social media. I do care. People tell you, I don't care what fans. I don't care. I do care. I care about the perception, what the fans think, about what the franchise thinks of me, because I want my professionalism and my integrity to be kept in check. I never want that to be compromised, because it means a lot to me. But group chats are more fun for those conversations anyway. So, find you some good friends and, crash out there, y'all. Start a group chat. That's always the safe way to stay safe in these streets. Start a group chat.
Yeah, our group chat we got us canceled.
What? We talking about we be in the Cayman Islands right now if that boy got leaked out.
Oh man, it's funny, but I love the conversations that we have because they can go just so off the rails sometimes, man. But appreciate the comment, Chris. We do have one more topic of the show, and it's something that I've actually been going back and forth with fans, and they say, why do you think so much about these topics? Like, why ruin chemistry? Why do that? But the question I have for you, last topic of the show. Should Isaiah Stewart be inserted into the starting lineup? Now, we all know Tobias Harris is the starting power forward of this basketball team, but this has been the first year that I can remember in recent memory where he has just had so many injuries, ankle, hip, ankle. Stu has been very productive in the starting lineup. I happen to like the double bigs next to Jalen Duren, and the numbers kind of suggest that they're really good on the court together. Do you think JB Bickerstaff would ever consider starting Isaiah Stewart and having Tobias off the bench, given all the injuries that he's had, not even 40 games into the season so far?
Considering his offensive growth, I think it's 100% on the table. That has always been my biggest worry about it. The defense, it speaks for itself. The dog pound of, JD, Stu, and Asar in your front court with Cade as, another great defender, and even Duncan Robinson being not a great individual defender, but still can be impactful as a team defender and, pass deflections and taking charges. That's a good starting five right there. That's a really good starting five you could have. I do think the lack of I think versatility offensively is still a worry for me, even though Tobias hasn't really been great offensively. I think, I like when they throw to him in the post and he's able to, maybe back down and, pull a fade away or go over the top against a smaller defender. I think that helps, but, he also isn't the same defender he was last season. I think he was really good defensively last season. This year is not the same. And I think with Stu, with how he plays, especially that last game he had, not the who they just played, not the Clippers. I forgot who was the Bulls before that. Yeah, it was the Chicago. He put up 31, a career high. He was spectacular that game, and I think we also have seen the growth in terms of his ability to stretch the floor and shoot from three as well. I think he's been really good in that department. His patience as a defender with the ball in his hand, the way he plays above the rim now, he's been dunking and just like finishing above the rim way more often than he has been over this past few seasons. So I think it can work. I think I would personally like a little bit more like athleticism and fluidity in terms of his offensive creation for that starting four. But in terms of just between him and Tobias, I think it works. And I think the numbers kind of bear it out too, because when he starts, I think they've only lost like one game. And I think it's like a 12-game sample size, if I'm not mistaken. So the facts say it works. I'm not against the idea at all. I kind of push back a little bit because I like, Tobias's ability to be a bit more of a floor spacer and more versatile as an offensive creator. But he struggled a little bit with that, and he's also getting injured a lot. So, again, I love Tobias, but I don't think it would be a bad idea at all to start Stu next to JD in that front court.
I think it's just such a interesting conversation, but I also consider the way Stu plays, it might actually come back to bite the Pistons in the ass because that man does not take a play off 120% all the way.
True.
I think it's just a selfish thing for me because when he's on the court, the defense, like the defensive rating is just like absurd. And when he's off the court, it's you can tell like the defense takes a hit when he's on the bench. I really like him as the backup center on this team, but I think it's more of a glaring hole at the power forward position because I still feel that's our weakest position as a team collectively. Maybe they can address that at the trading deadline. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I don't know if you watched, but your boy went completely sicko mode over here. I came up with a trade target for all 29 NBA teams.
Ooh, look at you going crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one power forward I came to was actually on the Lakers. It was Rui Hachimura, who's on an expiring $18 million deal.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe you can find a power forward like that. I'm not saying go out and trade for Rui, but like maybe there's a stretch four, or maybe there's a power forward that, could make sense for this team. Um, I still feel like that's our weakest position, whether you want to address it at this trade deadline, maybe it's in the draft, maybe there's someone in the draft that you like, maybe free agency, possible trade this summer. But I think that that's the one position when I come back to, it's like, man, they really have to upgrade that, because I don't know how much more you can rely on Tobias as he does get older. He's 33, he'll be 34 soon eventually. But this is the first year where, like, I can honestly say, like, he actually looks his age. He's playing like he's 33.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a point where, again, obviously it's his last year in his contract. I do think he'll find a way to come back, maybe come off the bench. I think that would really be really suiting for them because they don't have a lot of four depth coming off the bench either. But for me, I kind of agree with you. Again, I'm not against the idea of him starting, but I think it may just be a little bit better suited for him coming off the bench, especially with a lot of the fouls he racks up too. Like, he gets in foul trouble really quickly. And if he's a starter getting in foul trouble, that's bad news because now he has to sit and it doesn't really have the same flow and continuity in terms of, how you bring him back. So I think it just fits a little bit better to kind of bring him off the bench for now. Maybe, just shrink Tobias's minutes a little bit more, play a lot more small ball lineups where he's maybe not on the court. But I think again, Stu's played him up. Stu's played himself up a very good case. Like, again, he's somebody I've kind of been pretty skeptical of in terms of his game because I didn't know what his offensive development was going to look like. When he got paid, I thought it was kind of premature because he didn't really. I don't think he was really great in the Monty Williams system as their go-to stretch four. I just didn't like that at all. But JB has done a great job of using him in the ways that go to his strengths of playing in the paint, defending on the perimeter, being able to switch out on guards and wings. People try him at the rim constantly, and he's always swatting that out, into the stands. He's been fantastic. Again, I think they can find a little bit better, me personally, at the power forward position. But I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think it could work. But again, just offense. To me, it's the offense. The defense is fine, but they have so many guys that are playing good defense. So it's not like, yes, I agree with you. It does take a bit of a step down, but they do also still have guys that can play good defense and kind of, keep the ship steady while he may or may not be on the court. Like, Ron Holland has shown he can do that. Javonte Green has shown he can do that. The first 3 possessions of the game yesterday was just Javonte being a complete menace all over the floor. So they have a lot of guys that are capable defenders. Even Cade as a rim protector in transition or in half court set shown that he can be impactful. So I like the versatility that they have defensively. I think they just need a little bit more offensively. While Stu has been much better in that case, I think they could just find somebody else. To me, that I want to see them get somebody that can go create their own looks. And I don't know if Stu can do that at a consistent rate at this point if it's not just, how back you down, and I'll finish over the top. Like, I want to see a 3-level score that can impact the game, with getting their own or playing catch and shoot basketball as well, while also giving you good effort on defense as well. So, again, it's a big question mark. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward, but I just think that's going to tip a lot in terms of what this franchise looks like moving forward at that 4 position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I still think that's probably one position that I think the organization will upgrade because they know that Tobias isn't going to be here like 5 years out. I still think that they're still looking for that long-term 4 and maybe possibly their long-term 2. I did see someone actually leave a comment earlier in the podcast asking, could Brandon Miller be available? I think anyone's available for the right price. But I'll give you another lottery pick that I think could be under the radar, maybe buy low on. Jabari Smith Jr. from Houston.
Okay.
I mean, we talk about power forward. We know that he can shoot the ball. I think that could be a buy low option as well when you talk about power forwards. Now, I have no idea what Houston would want. I mean, you could even entertain Tari Eason as well. Tari Eason and Jalen Duren, by the way, have the same agent. And both of them didn't extend. So, I mean, Tari Eason got a deal, but most of it was non-guaranteed. It was a $100 million deal. Like, 80% of it was non-guaranteed. So obviously they weren't going to take that. But I mean, I think Houston does have some intriguing power forwards on the roster that you could possibly look at this trading deadline or possibly this summer. I don't know about Brandon Miller. I think Brandon Miller would cost you a couple of draft picks, and you're probably at least starting the conversation with like Ron, I would assume, because Charlotte wants to get out of the basement. They want to be competing in the playoffs. I mean, they're bringing a LaMelo Ball off the bench now. So I mean, that's just like
so crazy.
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
Yeah, that's the part that's tripping me out. Yeah,
it worked, but it'll be interesting. Charlotte's a team when you look at them, like the one player that could be intriguing, another power forward, Grant Williams, just had his first game back after tearing his ACL, and he fits into the trade exception. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's just so many like low key under the radar power forwards that the Pistons could target.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting because while I think Jabari taking a step forward, he's averaging like 15 a game right now. It's been such a weird story with him since his rookie year, from the projected number one pick to go to Orlando, then it's Paolo instead, and now he goes to Houston, which was a good landing spot for him, but it's just been kind of up and down to some extent, and now he, may or may not be there, in their plan for the future. The thing for me is, while I do think that could be a good fit for him, I think it kind of repeats the same things that they've been doing, which is a buy low option that may or may not work. The Pistons, I think it could work for a guy like him, but I'd still want to see them get a guy that's proven. Yeah. I want to see that personally and selfishly. Again, it's not to say that Jabari couldn't work here on this team, but it's just I think the big swing, because you keep talking about Cade, having his number 2 guy. A lot of these moves that we see from these other teams that are having young cores and they're trying to, build with the proper nucleus around them, they're going to get guys that are proven players. Like Brandon Ingram was a proven player. It's just his injuries that are the question mark. Desmond Bane is a proven talent. Like, he's shown that he can be a reliable 2 or 3 or a 1 on a hot night. The Pistons, I think, are still looking for more proven guys, and I think that's really what would tip a whole lot for me. I don't want to say I don't want to see, because again, in the area, in a perfect world, and in a situation under a guy like JB Bickerstaff, who has shown that he can make guys like Duncan Robinson as a feasible defender when you need him, you can also get that out of a guy like Jabari Smith Jr. So I do love that name as a suggestion, but I do want them to kind of keep poking around at some proven guys that also maybe have some upside. Maybe I'm just being selfish. I don't know. But fantasy booking wise, I want to see them go find somebody that's proven for this team.
I'm just spitball off the top of my head. I mean, like there's some guys that are maybe kind of like a tier above. Like, I think Grant Williams and PJ Washington to me are very similar players. Yeah. They're kind of like, I wouldn't say they're role players, but they're like fringe starters where they could definitely like help your team in that aspect. I still remember people killing me for mentioning PJ Washington during the Monty Williams year, saying, "Oh, you're crazy. Why would we go get PJ?" I'm like, now who wants PJ Washington?
No, that would have been perfect. I would have loved that.
Yeah. So did you see who Michael Porter Jr. is dating? I did. Ice Spice. I did.
That tells me everything I need to know. Do not bring this man to the Detroit Pistons. The podcasting was enough. The craziness about throwing his brother under the bus. Now he's dating Ice Spice. Do not bring this dude to the Pistons, please. Do not do it. Oh my God. Is that real? Is that true right now?
Yeah. Apparently, NBA Buzz or Courtside Buzz, excuse me. Someone on Facebook just told me they were posting like a TikTok video together. But man, I really don't care who you're dating. I see Ice.
I'm nasty.
I know. I see Ice Spice all over my timeline. I know I mentioned Klay Thompson like a month ago. You're like, hell yeah, let's trade for Klay.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's totally different. Yeah, I'll crash out for that. Come on through, Meg. Come sit front row with the Pistons. Let's do it. Ice Spice? Come on, y'all. We can do better than Ice Spice, bro. No, please no.
Oh man. Podcast went completely off the rails. I did not. I did see that earlier. I was like, should I put it in the group chat? They probably don't give a shit.
Yeah, we can clown Ice Spice over here. It's okay. This is a safe space for that. Don't worry. That
Uh,
won't
I,
get back to the Pistons franchise.
I who's Ice Spicy? Oh my god, you guys are just you guys are too much. Like, kind of speaking of Michael Porter Jr., I did kind of want to just like have this conversation. I feel like he does fit from a basketball perspective, and I see a lot of fans saying like it wouldn't cost a whole lot to get him, but like I just 100% disagree. Like I think his
Me too.
value, like his trade value, I think like before the season was at a like all time low. You know, they had to attach a first, Denver, to get rid of him to get Cameron Johnson and be able to sign like veteran minimum guys and Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. But like people like throw Ivy in a Michael Porter Jr. This drafted five guards. Like Igor Demon, their rookie, is just playing phenomenally. Ben Saraf, who they also drafted, he's a really good defensive guard that they have. Drake Powell is a really intriguing two-way wing who I think is going to be a really good player for them for a long time. I think if you were to get into the Michael Porter Jr. sweepstakes, and I've talked to some co-workers over at Believe in Nets, they said, conversation starts with Ron Holland, like straight up. Ron Holland, Tobias, and a couple first.
Basketball wise, again, people gotta be able to not be in love with all your young guys. Everybody can't stay. Like somebody's gonna have to go, and especially for these kind of players. I don't know. I don't think Mike. I think he's done a really good job of taking advantage of his Jeremy Grant moment, where he leaves a bigger team, goes to a smaller one, turns into the number one guy, and shows what he can do. I think he's done a phenomenal job of that. I don't know. I don't think I don't buy into his. I don't think he's a great defender personally. And the culture fit for sure bothers me, and he's had some issues with his health as well. Even though I think over the past few seasons he's gotten a little bit better, but I don't know. I think they could just do a little bit better in terms of him. I don't think that's the best kind of option to have. Again, it wouldn't be horrible for him. It's not like he would make them a worse team. I just think they can do a little bit better in terms of finding a guy to kind of solidify what they were looking for at that 3 or 4 spot.
Yeah, I mean, like it's gonna start at Ron. Like from what he heard, like the organization in Brooklyn really likes Ron Holland. But like, if I'm getting in a conversation, I'm probably not giving up Ron Holland in a Michael Porter Jr. trade. I think that's where I kind of draw the line. I'm like, you can have your pick, but I probably wouldn't do Ron. The reports were coming out that it could be a three-way trade. It could be Michael Porter Jr. going to Golden State, Jonathan Kuminga going to Sacramento. I mean, like that could be a thing. I've seen Miami is a dark horse team. I've seen Milwaukee possibly, getting into that sweepstakes. That and Zach LaVine. I mean, there's a lot of trade rumors this time of year, but I like Michael Porter Jr. I think you look at his volume from three right now. I don't think he's getting the same volume here in Detroit, but he's shown the ability to, if you want to like place him into a secondary or third option role, he did that in Denver. So it's not like unfamiliar territory. I think him and Cade would be very interesting to me. Very interesting to me. I think the fit could definitely work, but again, I think Brooklyn, they're good on guards. I don't think they need Jaden Ivey. They just like how many guards did we just see them draft?
Right.
Yeah, I think they're good on guards. Like they're probably looking for more defensive wings, so they're looking at Asar, maybe Javonte Green. Asar to me, I would think would just be off limits in any Michael Porter Jr. trade. I'm not doing that, but I mean, it just kind of depends. I don't really think the Pistons have the players that the Nets would probably want, and the Nets aren't going to sell low on their best like player that they have. Like they could easily get 2 first-round picks and some stuff for Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, for as well as he's playing this year, he's definitely driven his value up tremendously. Like it's not like I kind of compared it to the Jeremy Grant situation.
Yeah,
it would be way more than what we got back for Grant. Obviously flipping that into Duran, it would be way more at this point. Yeah, again, I wouldn't hate it. And again, he's done a good job of branching out as a player. I didn't think he was going to be this good. I'll be the first to say it. I did not think it was going to be as impressive as he's been. 3-point shooting has still been great, hitting tough shots, creating his own looks at a much more impressive rate. I like what he's done in terms of his growth. God, I think it might be Ice Spice at this point that's driving me away. That y'all just said that. It really is making me mad sitting here thinking about her performing at halftime. Like, I don't want to see that. Nah, bro, I'm sorry. And her SpongeBob outfits, no, absolutely not.
Hey, man, just get the Funketeers every halftime show, and I'm good, man.
Thank you. Just bring them back every week. We'll be good. Shout out to the Funketeers.
I don't think the Pistons have had I love the Pistons, but respectively, I do not think they've had a good halftime show since the Funketeers. It's been pretty
No, absolutely not. That was legendary peak right there. They were trending for like a week straight after that. That was amazing. That was such a fun time.
I know, I saw it, and everyone's just like, probably the funniest comment I saw was just like, Cedric the Entertainer in Power Ranger uniforms. I was like, you guys are mean, man.
It's probably his cousin somewhere up in there. He probably recognized somebody in that group. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen the Funketeers halftime performance with the Detroit Pistons, pretty sure our guy Kingy had posted the whole thing. Shout out to Kingy, man. He's funny. King. He's such a funny follow on Twitter, but man. I do want to kind of wrap this podcast up because we've been on for an hour and 30, usually what we kind of do. But I do have your social media links down in the description. But for people that aren't familiar with your work, maybe it's the first time seeing Eric on this podcast, why don't you tell the people where they can follow you and what you do between your articles, YouTube channel, and this year with the away games, Live on Assist?
Yes. Thank you for having me on, man. It's really been a blast as always. Everybody in the chat, you can lock in with me on my social media at I am Eric Vincent. You can also follow my beat reporting for the Pistons on clutchpoints.com. All my writing is done exclusively on there. I do have a YouTube page as well, Top Title Detroit. And like you just said, for Pistons away games, I'm actually broadcasting and streaming. I'm not showing the game on the screen, but I give my commentary, my feedback as the game is going on. The website is called liveonassist.com. I'm actually going to be linking it to my social media and my YouTube page very soon. The Pistons got a bit of a break until their next away game, so we're getting some things chopped up for now. I would actually love to have you on, man, because I'm going to try to have some content creators on for a little bit, if you're, down for the idea. But, yeah, lock in with us on liveonassist.com. Tap in on my social media, my YouTube page. All those are going to be synced together for those broadcasts, man. I'm super excited about that. I've been having a blast doing those.
Just let me know. I'll come on in for whether it's a game or a half. Doesn't really matter to me, man. I mean, we're all watching the game anyways. I mean, if anything, we're just trolling your live chat with Live on Assist anyways.
Oh, my God. You and Sean have been insane. Y'all just bringing the group chat to that chat. I'm like, will y'all relax, please? It'd be hilarious, though. I'm all for it.
Yeah, for sure. We have all your social media links live in the description below. If you guys are watching live on YouTube right now, you want to go support Eric, give him a follow on Twitter. Definitely some spicy takes there. If you want to subscribe to his YouTube channel, saw that you did reach over 500, so congrats to you on that, man. It's a
Thanks,
grind.
man. Thank you. Proud moment right there.
Did YouTube lift the subscription or the content creator thing where you only need 500 subscribers now to monetize?
I think it might be a little bit more. I don't think I've gotten that far. I think it might be 1,000 at this point now.
Oh, they went back.
So I'm still trying to climb. Yeah, I'm still doing my climbing for now.
They went back, man. I remember when I first started, it took me 9 months to get 1,000 subscribers, and that was me making a YouTube video every day.
Oh, man.
During COVID, so there was tons to talk about. Like, I talked about Killian Hayes like every day.
That was the hot button conversation. That's all you needed. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh man, like I remember the grinding, but definitely go subscribe to Eric's YouTube channel. Maybe you'll see Gilbert Arenas once in a while just pop in on there and just like type in the comments.
He does. He watches everything. It's cool. Pull up, Gil. We can have a conversation.
All right, you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Pistons don't play till Thursday, so got a couple days off. They play twice this week. Thursday against the Phoenix Suns, the Devin Booker Bowl, if you will. I'm sure he's happy to come back to Michigan, and then the Indiana Pacers, who are playing a little bit better as of late. So 2 winnable games, but I would watch out for that Phoenix game. Phoenix is pretty good this year.
Real quick, what jersey is Devin Booker going to wear into LCA?
Ooh, good one. I think Book is going to wear. He'll probably go with the Red Wings. I don't think he'll go with the Lions because they didn't make the playoffs. Even though, can I say something about Lions fans real quick?
Let's hear it.
Y'all some petty motherfuckers, man.
What you mean?
My whole timeline was on Ben Johnson hate watch last night.
Oh, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Yeah. I'm good with that.
I'm good for a hate watch, but like, good Lord, man. Good Lord.
Nah, you went to the ops, bro. You went to the division rival. It's up for him forever. I'm super down for that hate. I lead that group. I'm cool with that. Anybody hate on Ben Johnson, you good with me.
Oh, man. You can hate on him, but like some of the tweets, there's some accounts that I follow where I'm just like, what delusional world are you living in? Like, what delusional world are you living in? Someone said a Scooble jersey. That's probably the right answer.
That's my guess. That's my guess. Yep.
Probably the right answer.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Red Wings. Probably because like they're good. He cannot wear a Pistons jersey. He just can't because Pistons Twitter will crash out. They'll be like, trade for Devin Booker.
Comes in a Ben Wallace jersey. That timeline is gonna melt. Oh my God! Please no.
Hey, he should just troll and wear a Cade jersey just to screw with people.
The uproar, I can see it now. Oh my goodness, please.
Just be a sicko and like have like a teal Cade jersey. Just come
on
in.
Right.
Like if I was Book, I would
blue jersey.
if I was Book, I would just screw with Pistons fans. Like every chance I got, I came to Detroit. I would always wear a Pistons jersey. It'd be like, here's a Corey Joseph jersey. Just to screw with them.
Oh my God! Find the dirtiest jersey you can find. Corey Joseph, pull a Sadiq Bey out of nowhere. Please.
Who knows? But should be 2 good games next week, both at home, and then get that West Coast trip at the end of the month. Not looking forward to that, but
me neither.
We will see you guys on Thursday when we do our post-game show immediately after the game. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care. Peace.